check out the knocks. It's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Let's go, Tybalt! Great adventures await!
I think there's somebody in his life. It's been the hardest working band in the business.
Hey, buddy. This is Dystopian Dance Party. This is our Halloween Weasel Halloween extravaganza. I decided to do that like seconds before we decided to record. As promised, this is the episode where it's a minisode, so we're just looking at a couple episodes of Totally Pauly. So I watched some of the Halloween episodes. So we'll just be discussing those and some other little odds and ends. We didn't manage to get any more episodes in. Like, we didn't watch anything this month other than Totally Pauly. It's been a really wild month. My beloved cat died. So I just have not been in the mood to watch Pauly Shore stuff this month. And so, like, yesterday I texted Zach and I was like, you want to just shard an episode out really quick?
Yeah, I was in England and Iceland and Ireland for 2 weeks, and our plan was to get together like the week I was back. But I think literally the weekend I came back, Lemmy had to be put to sleep.
Oh, she didn't have to be put to sleep. She died in my home.
Oh, that's right. She just died. You were going to put her to sleep, but then she ended up passing.
I packed her away, not knowing that she had already passed. So
yeah.
Anyway, so that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Happy
so
Halloween.
I was like, I know that Callie is grieving, and the last thing I want to do is be like, hey, do you want to watch Pauly Shore's discredited 1997 sitcom that was canceled 5 episodes in? So we took a little bit of extra time, but now it is 4 days before Halloween that we're recording this, and I can definitely slap together an episode in that time. That's what we're doing. But first, there's a couple of things before we jump into the spooky content. Oh, I guess we should. I mean, I'm fucking, you know who we are. Like, who cares? Yeah. Like, if you're watching this, if you've made it this far, then you already know who we are. I'm not introducing myself. We can
Yeah, if you have decided to pick up on a random minisode, the Halloween minisode, then you should probably just backtrack a little bit in your own time.
So our last real full episode was Biodome, and I thought that was a pretty good episode. There were a couple of things that my sound was really bad for some reason. My mic kept feeding back, so I'm hoping that it sounds better this time. I felt like we were really on topic and didn't take as much editing, and I thought it was a good episode. But then after we stopped, I was like, oh, God damn it. There were 2 things that I really wanted to mention. So I guess we can call these corrections. They're not really corrections. They're just stuff that I forgot. But one of them was, I really wanted to mention, just to kind of thread a needle that we've been doing. So we've been talking about there being a continued de-evolution of Pauly's catchphrases, especially after the Weasel. So, obviously he had a ton of catchphrases as the Weasel, but then when he let go of that character, then it got lame, in the Army now it's hello. And then what was it in Jury?
I don't even remember. I don't know if he had one.
Well, Biodome is fully nonverbal. It's just this grating, high-pitched cackle. It's in our intro music. Yeah. So if you've been listening to this podcast, you've heard it. And that's the closest thing he has to a catchphrase. And it's kind of funny in the sense of the Dumb and Dumber scene. You want to hear the most annoying sound of the world, that kind of humor. But it certainly can't go up against any of the, Stony Individual or Major or Cones or like any of the classic Totally Pauly. He really was kind of rudderless without that Weasel character in the second half of the 90s. And then I was like really kicking myself about this. I'm honestly not 100% sure I realized this while I was watching it. But when I was like poking around on IMDb and Wikipedia, I realized, so we mentioned the character Doyle's mom once because we were like confused about who their parentage was. She kind of seems to be both of their moms, but it actually turned out that they were so close that she was kind of a mother figure to both of them. But that was Patricia Hearst, as in Patty Hearst, played Doyle's mom. I didn't know she acted after her brief stint as a domestic terrorist.
Right.
I had no idea.
That's such an interesting like Easter egg.
Yeah.
For this movie. Wow. That just proves what we said.
There's more depth to it than you could think. Which brings me to some of the viewer comments. So because I was out of the country, and also, I mean, I don't know why I'm acting like I've been good about posting the YouTube stories before I left the country, but we've only posted the one. So I did one after we posted the Biodome, put a story up on YouTube and Instagram to promote that episode. And that's the one where we're talking about how Jury Duty is entertainment, but Biodome is a work of art. And this one guy, I mean, I guess he posted it publicly. So I'm going to go ahead and say what his screen name is. His screen name is the John Woo Dove Foundation, which is an interesting, give credit where due. That's an interesting screen name. And he said, Biodome is such mind-raping garbage. You guys need to smoke better, bud. And I have two objections to that. One is just that, like, if you in 2024 use rape as a verb to mean anything other than sexual assault, it's just like the vibes are just not great. Like I can just like tell, like I wouldn't get along with this dude. So that's
it's
one
very
thing.
like middle school 20 years ago, like early 2000s.
And also I know it's a dude, like I can make two immediate assumptions that this is a dude and that I would not vibe with him. So that's one thing. Then the other thing is I would actually argue that if the bud that I was on made Biodome feel like a work of art, then that means that I'm on better stuff than you're on, man. Like if you can't see it, then, to me, that means it's working, right? Like, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Like, Biodome is not, this is a contentious statement. I was going to say it's not really obnoxious, and then I remember what I'm talking about. It doesn't feel like, to me, it doesn't feel like as obnoxious as, like, other comedies of that ilk, though. And I don't know if that's just a me thing. Because I did also just watch Rock and Roll Nightmare for like the 20th time last night. So I don't know if we're on have the same ideas of what that even means, but it just like it doesn't feel quote unquote mind raping to me.
Right. I feel like it's aware that it's dumb, and that makes a big difference. I guess that's what I mean. And it's also like, I don't know, I just feel like it's not an original or unusual position to take that Biodome is a bad movie. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And I like to be a little bit of a contrarian. I like to stick up for the underdog a little bit. That's what this whole series is about. Really quick,
I realized that I have completely abandoned my segment where I rate Pauly's outfits and pick my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I even did one for Jury Duty, but I mean, that one's obvious. It's the milkman costume.
Well, yeah. Possibly the judge costume also. That one was also good.
Okay, yeah, maybe it is. But
it's one of costume. It's one of the stripper outfits for sure.
For Biodome, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to choose from here, but I do really like the vest that he has that has a name tag that says meat on it. And while I was looking up the pictures of this outfit, there's been some like eagle-eyed Biodome fans who noticed that later he has a vest on that says veg after like he becomes a
environmentalist. Yeah. This movie doesn't get enough credit. I think a movie that is that dumb wouldn't have thought to change his name tag to veg, you know?
Yeah,
like
or
that's,
I think it
that's
is
clever.
dumb, I think it's clever to be that dumb.
Right.
Like, it's
There's
not
a
really
fine
even
line
that
between
funny.
stupid and clever. It's like what Nigel says in Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, also the fact that it's an Easter egg kind of thing. Like, they don't make a big deal of the fact that he changed it. It's just kind of like a quiet, like, if you're paying attention to the art department in this movie, then you'll know that. Because I didn't even notice it until I was looking up the meat vest outfit.
I don't have any thoughts about fashion, except I really wish that somebody would do a bootleg the shirts that they made. And okay, somebody kind of has done a bootleg. Like, it's on, somebody did like a version of the shirts that they make in universe in the movie that's sort of like a drawn version of Bud and Doyle, and it says like "driven by chaos" or something like that.
What? That's actually kind of sweet.
So somebody sort of did make it, but it was like they took a photo. I want actually literally the like drawn art from the I want it to be like exactly like the one that's in the movie. So I don't know how that could happen. I feel like somebody would have to take the still from the movie and like painstakingly redraw it, which is probably, you know, asking too much. But I really want a shirt like that. But I will only settle for a movie quality version of it.
Yeah,
so,
I don't want like a TeePublic like novelty tee type
exactly
thing.
And that's kind of what it is. Yeah, like their heart was in the right place, but like it's not up to my standards. But I do love it. And then I've got some more comments here from more of the usual suspects. So our last minisode, I talked about my friend Lee and how he and I left out Lee's wife. Her name's Grace. And actually, Kia and I met. They live in Bath in the UK, which is kind of near-ish where Kia and I were visiting. So we actually went over to Bath and met them for dinner one day.
That's cool.
So I met two of our fans that we know by name, and that was my first time really interacting with. I feel like I'd done a couple of Instagram DMs or something with Grace, but she's very much in the mix too. So I didn't mean to erase her from the record because she's definitely right up there with Lee in terms of because they've been watching like all of Totally Pauly, and they've also they've watched some stuff that we haven't gotten to yet. Like I'm gonna put this out here, and I don't know how we're going to react to this movie, but they vouched for Adopted. They said it was actually quite funny. Yeah, so
I'm excited to get to that one because I think even if it is as bad as I think it's going to be, it will be funny for that reason. Like, because it's just like so tone deaf.
Right.
But I have an open mind about it.
Yeah, I'm coming into it with an open mind, especially because Lee and Grace had some of their comments that I'm going to read in a second. I mean, they've been weasel pilled, so they're very much along the lines of what we've been talking about, which is that there's more here than people give it credit for. So one of the comments I want to spotlight here is Lee was responding to, I think it was in the son-in-law episode, I said that the European mind can't comprehend the weasel. And he said, I think things just had to get to this state for the European audience to catch up to the nonsensicalities of the weasel, but we are catching up thanks to you. So that's good. I think, well, it's good for Europe in so much as they're down on our level and they can now understand Pauly Shore. It's bad for Europe in so much as it took, you know, Brexit and the rise of far-right populism and all of the various things that are happening worldwide. You know, basically they had to enter this new kind of dystopia to really be on this wavelength. So I guess it's really like a silver lining.
Yeah.
And then, so this is from Jukebox Cowboy. He's said this in the comments for Biodome, that the funniest part of the movie is the prideful introduction of the Biodome 5 by William Atherton. I think that's up there for me. I think we talked about a little bit, but not that much. It was based on a real scientific experiment that kind of similarly went awry. Well, not It went awry.
There were two
Not in the
random
same
people.
way.
This is a documentary.
But that part is sort of a mockery of these self-important, highly public, scientific, and it's just like taking that to its dumbest possible extent. So I am interested. I'm definitely interested in watching. There's a documentary about it that I
wanted to watch that too,
because it sounds like the documentary is also funny. Part of the reason why I want to watch it is I want to see, do they acknowledge Biodome in the documentary? I feel like they should.
I want to do like a side-by-side comparison of what happened in Biodome versus...
But yes, that part is funny. And I especially like I mentioned this in the episode, that just like the comic timing of introducing all of these scientists, and then Bud and Doyle are also there waving with them. That's very funny to me. I'm sorry.
Again, like we talked at length about this in the actual episode, but just the fact that they have no motivation. They really are just agents of chaos. Right. They just want to watch the world burn.
Right. No motivation and no, like, just no sense of, like, they shouldn't be there. There's they scoff at the idea
kittens.
Of rules. Yeah.
They are like kittens. Like, they don't even really have, I don't think, a sense that what they're doing is wrong. It's not like they even are trying to destroy anything. They just... are like so like single-sided.
Yeah, it's like when a cat
they just want to knock a cup over.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that exact mentality. And then this is what I was talking about, where it's like Lee and Grace, they get it. So this is from our last minisode, because it starts. I 100% agree with your assessment of Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about Lenny. Oh, because there was a Totally Pauly where Lenny Kravitz appears.
I think I said this. I don't want to retread, but Lenny Kravitz, the level of fame and like respect that he gets, I feel like it's a joke that is being played on me at my expense. And everybody else in the world is in on it. That's
exactly like he's
not
a
bad,
nominee for. I mean,
but be. He's mid. He's very mid.
He's so mid that it's bad, and he gets this level of respect that is unwarranted.
Even like people like Prince. Prince would like have him on and jam with him like they were equals, and I'm like, dude, he should be shining your shoes or something, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to make this into an anti-Lenny Kravitz podcast, but I'm just saying. And it's like
we're
the more
Pauly Shore anti-Lenny
it's from really going on a limb here.
Not to be nominated into the Rock and Roll. Well, you know, he is nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm just like, who? I mean, like, Kiss is in there. First of all, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame means nothing. It's made for people like Dave Matthews and Lenny Kravitz, so they can fucking have it.
Right.
But it's also just like, why though?
Right. I know. So anyway, this is another Lee at least is with us on this. So he says, 100% agree with your assessment of Lenny. So this is interesting because I feel a little dumb for not thinking about this because we famously read The Dirt. But he said, I saw that Pauly Motley intro, you know, in the spring break episode as a diss joke on Vince and his driving offenses, or maybe my timing is off. I don't think his timing is off. I think that might be right because that was like 1990, right? So that was definitely after Vince Neil
makes sense.
Killed the guy from Hanoi Rocks. So that actually makes it
so much funnier.
That makes it like funnier and also so much darker.
Yeah, I know. Which is why it's funny.
So then he goes on to say, I think you underestimate just how intentional Pauly is with his awkward thing. It's almost like he's a student of Andy Kaufman, but the context is different and he gets it a bit off or something. And this is, he said, I think this will be revealed when you see Adopted. That all said, you shouldn't feel bad if you can't gauge when it's a bit and not, as I don't know if Pauly knows where a bit ends and where he starts.
Yeah.
More now than
that's
then.
like that. I truly believe that that's where his genius lies. And I feel like that gets lost on a lot of people. Because for me, a lot of the things in Totally Pauly that are funny, and we'll talk about this, are the offbeats. Like the part that you're not actually supposed to think is funny.
And you know,
which I don't even think is intentional for Pauly either. Like,
right. And I mean, I know that I am weasel pilled. It's like we're 10 months into this fucking thing. Like at this point, I have no sense of objectivity. My brain is just melted. So like I get that the listeners might be like, this is fucking bullshit. But it is Andy Kaufman-esque. And if you look at Andy Kaufman, like most of the time when Andy Kaufman was interacting with people, like not on Taxi or whatever, when he was actually doing his comedy, people did not think it was funny. They hated it. They hated him. You know, like it was just about annoying people. So like, what is the difference really between Andy Kaufman and Pauly Shore? You know?
I really remember, wasn't there like a Andy Kaufman like biopic, which Jim Carrey started? Yeah, I cannot wait for like in a few decades for that to become a thing where someone is playing Pauly Shore, elevating Pauly Shore's comedy into high art. And
Jim Carrey famously went method and like refused to be addressed as anything other than Andy. And then like he would show up on set as Tony Clifton and be really abusive with people. So like, who is the future? Is it Timothy Chalamet? Is Timothy Chalamet going to do this for Pauly Shore?
Oh my god, can you imagine that? Because that means Sam Kinison has to be in it.
Let's fan cast this now. So we got Timothy Chalamet as Pauly Shore. Who would Sam Kinison be? Seth Rogen? Is that a good age gap? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe. This would be like if it's going to be made like this year.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe
or maybe like Jonah Hill.
Yeah, it's actually better because I feel like Jonah Hill is like more of a serious actor than Seth Rogen.
Yeah, that's right. Who else can we put in this?
I'm trying to remember her real name, the porn star he dated. She went by Savannah.
Oh my God, Vince Neil. Somebody gets to play Vince Neil.
Yeah, like who would play Vince? We got to come back. This will be a recurring segment, and this is
maybe this could be our mini-sode for next time, where we can both come up with like a fan cast, and then we'll compare notes.
This is a good audience engagement thing too. So if you've got any ideas for the cast of this Oscar bait Pauly Shore biopic, then let us know. So I got one more thing. I know this segment is running long, but speaking of Lee and Grace actually two things. She emailed us. So finally we got an email to heybuddy@dystopiandanceparty.com. And then she emailed us an unboxing video of she ordered a poster, so like an original Son-in-Law movie poster.
Sick.
So I'm gonna drop that in because it's pretty funny. But I will just say, to preface this, that she told me this when we met, and in my mind I was picturing like an 8x12, you know, or something, or like 8x10. You know how they have the little like a little lobby card, you know, like those little ones that you would. Yeah, this is like an actual huge. It's like, whoa. I don't know, like 24 inches by 36 or something like that. It's enormous. So nice. It's much more imposing than I thought it would be.
Hey buddies, so I'm very excited because this arrived in the post. I had to go away for a weekend and I haven't managed to unbox this yet. So here is a Dystopian Dance Party Year of the Weasel exclusive unboxing video of something weaselly. So let's see what we've got in here. I'm really glad I did this in this poncho because I think it kind of adds to the... I don't know, would the weasel wear a poncho? Cameraman?
I'm not supposed to speak, I just go like that.
Okay. Once you pop, you can't stop. Oh, this is going to really suck if like they sent me something else, isn't it? Okay.
If it's an in the army now post.
Ooh. What is it? What? More things? Oh, they're just an advert for their thing. Oh my goodness. Are you excited, cameraman? Mm-hmm. Don't get too close. Okay. Alright, here we go. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. I might need... Okay, so here it is. Thank you, camera person, who's not my husband. This is my original cinema poster for son-in-law. The duck, the pig, the cow, the weasel, bought exclusively on eBay for a total of £5. Oh, with a tear. They didn't mention the tear, but I think for £5, that's frameable. Oh, don't get too close. People will be scared of me. Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Get a grip by Aerosmith.
Oh yeah, of course. No pierced nipples here. Fantastic. Well, we can get a close-up of Pauly's name on the credits though. I think the viewers need to see. Whoa. I'm a weasel. Ah, thank you so much for watching. What an exciting event that was. All the way from Bath.
And she apparently got it for £5. So now I'm like, do I need to order an original son-in-law movie poster?
Well, if you do, send it here. I still haven't bought tickets, but I might still be able to see Pauly Shore this November. So I can potentially get it signed.
You got to get him. Yeah. I didn't end up going to Record Store Day this year. So maybe I can also hunt down a copy of the album he put out with the Crusties. Remember that?
Oh, I didn't realize that. Did that come out this year?
Yeah, it was at Record Store Day in April.
Oh, I didn't even look for that.
Well,
I didn't see it though. I went to Record Store Day and I didn't see any of those.
That's definitely one that you still have a chance. You know how like some Record Store Day stuff, if you're not there at opening, people snatch it up. I have a feeling that this is going to be one that's going to be in the Record Store Day box for a while. So, but
also it depends on if the record store even got the records, because like I said, I was at Record Store and I did not see hide nor hair of that at any of the 3 places I went. So.
All right. Well, let's talk about, I'm going to let you, I watched all of them, but I'm going to let you take the lead in discussing them, since I think you've seen them all twice, I think. And I've only seen them all once.
I've seen a couple of them twice, but they were a while ago. But I quickly watched them before. The new one, let's start with that one, because I think it's chronologically earliest. Yeah. So they're all all the Halloweens Totally Pauly's are kind of the same, where he goes to a costume shop and puts on a bunch of costumes. But this one, was especially interesting because it wasn't a Totally Pauly fan video, so it wasn't cut to just Totally Pauly. Right. So it had a lot of like old, like other MTV segments in it. There was one part I thought was interesting where there was an interview with Led Zeppelin about that 4 CD box set that we actually had.
I had that. I had the CD.
So that was interesting because I'm like, I remember like we literally had that in the house. Like I remember seeing
with our
that
nemesis,
and the Jimi Hendrix
Jimmy Page talking about the remaster. Yeah,
they asked him if he had any regrets, and he was like, I don't know, this might have been some mistakes or whatever. Like, what about kidnapping a 16-year-old or whatever? Was that one of the mistakes you don't regret? And then also just some of the editing, because there was like a little bit of editing in the video, not as much as Totally Pauly fan, but there was this one part where it just like kind of cuts from a commercial break and it shows like a second of a Winger video, and then it clips right to Pauly in a clown costume howling and rolling on the floor.
Buddies, is this cool or what?
Hey. Don't mess up the costume. Come on. You've been real good till now. You're gonna screw everything up. This clown is worth thousands of dollars.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Okay?
I was just practicing in case I wanted to be a clown.
Oh.
I was rolling on the ground.
Okay, just be more careful, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then he gets up and he's like touching his rainbow clown wig, and he's like, "This is a rainbow." Good stuff there. Then there's like a cut to another part, like something on MTV where they're interviewing the creator of Akira. So Atsuhiro Otomo is interviewed about manga and anime, and I was like,
yeah.
what?
And
like in '90s on the MTV, it was just so interesting.
Yeah, you were texting me about that, and I just for a split second got so excited because, like, I didn't realize that it wasn't just Pauly Shore. So
I know.
thought for a second
I really wanted it. Well, see, I was kind of like scrubbing through it, and so I saw Katsuhiro Otomo on there, and I'm like, wait a second, is Pauly Shore? But no, unfortunately, it was just like an MTV News like interview about manga and anime, and one of the mangaka that they talked to was Katsuhiro Otomo.
Yeah.
But
you talk about,
I really wish it was a Totally Pauly exclusive though.
Yeah, you talk about the European brain not understanding Pauly Shore. Like, I really want to know what Japanese people would think of Pauly Shore. I feel like it could honestly go either way. You know,
I think it depends on what part of Japan you're in. Like, I feel like he would go really well in like Harajuku.
Yeah, like an old Japanese person, they would fucking hate it even more than an old American person. But I feel like a young Japanese person would be down.
Even in the 90s too. Like, I feel like in the 90s it would be kind of the same thing.
Yeah, if you're from Japan and you're watching this, let us know what is the Pauly. When Kelly, when you went to Japan earlier this year, I was like, did you see any Pauly Shore stuff? And you didn't. But
I don't remember you saying that. I didn't see any Pauly Shore stuff. Which is surprising because there will be weird, like one of the, we went to this like vintage store in Osaka. It was like vintage clothes. And then there would be like a VHS set of like The Sopranos or like Frasier or something. And it's like, but it's different from when you go to like Value World here. They just have like this very like America core like look to the vintage store. And then it's almost like a display piece that you would have. It's just this like box set of like American television. So I have stuff like that. So I'm actually surprised I didn't see like Son-in-Law there or something.
Yeah, you never know, because the Can I Pod with Madness tagged us on Instagram a couple weeks ago that they saw Stoney's journal at like a.
It was the Pauly Shore retrospective that's traveling throughout different museums throughout the world.
Oh, it was Disney World's Pop Century Resort had a display of important cultural artifacts from the 1900s. I'm assuming they meant 1990s. Or no, maybe it's just the 20th century. Maybe Stoney's Encino High Journal is that important.
It's one of the most important works of the 1900s.
I agree. No objections here. So this is actually something that we just like to watch old programming blocks of TV. So this was fun just to see all of that old stuff. And like, you know, like that Led Zeppelin box, that's something that I'm like nostalgic about in a weird, because even though it's from the 70s, it also feels like it's from my childhood because that's the specific collection. Yeah,
I always think about that, because there were like multiple just like bigger box sets. So I think about that one, which has like, what are they, like crop circles or something on it? It's all like beige. It's very like 90s. Like I remember the 90s having that like a sunbeam on wood floor. Like there was a lot of stuff that was that color in the 90s.
Yeah, and the 90s loved crop circles also. Yeah.
And there was that long Jimi Hendrix experience with like the velveteen on it. I remember that, and the picture with, I think it's Noel Redding putting his hands down Jimmy's pants. It's like stuck in my brain. And then the Nuggets box set too. So I think that was like a long one also. So I just have like these big like 90s CD box sets that are just like I'm super nostalgic for. The other, it's kind of like leads into what for some reason ended up being a recurring theme. But at the end of that clip, he's going to this like, it's different from like the costume shops that he went to and some of the other ones. This is like, I think, a costume place that supplied costumes for like productions. Yeah. Because I think there was some stuff from like, it was something that Shelley Duvall did. Like Shelley Duvall's name was mentioned. I think he had like the Frog Prince, I think. that
the
from
Mother Goose rock
Rhyme?
and rhyme. I think I mentioned it on the show once because we were talking about the children's thing that Pauly did. And it's been weirdly coming up a lot. Like I've been getting served a lot of, it's actually happened before she died. I was getting served a lot of Shelley Duvall content on Instagram for some reason.
Yeah, the internet really loves Shelley Duvall.
They do. And I kept seeing stuff from this show that I watched. I think it was on HBO, maybe. I distinctly remember watching it as a kid. Little Richard was on it. A bunch of people were on it. And the other day, Kia shared this bizarre clip of like a metal band and like they're in a dungeon and they're singing like you're gonna go to hell or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, I've seen this. This was on the Mother Goose show. So like I need to watch this fucking show because it's
I started watching it, I think around the time that we were talking about that. And so I put it on. I need to actually sit down and finish it. But one of the costumes I think is from there where he has like this like frog costume on. Yeah. But then there's also at the end, she pulls out, I kind of love that, like, she pulls it out as if we're supposed to be like, oh my God, the costume that Mick Jagger wore in the Nightingale episode of Fairy Tale Theater. I didn't even know what this was. And it looks like when she shows it to Pauly, is like, oh, it's MC Hammer from the It's How We Pray video. And she's like, no, it's Mick Jagger from the Nightingale. I didn't know what this was, so I looked it up. And Mick Jagger plays Emperor? Did you just look at it? It's very it's very racially insensitive. Two, it's very me-coded. Like it definitely looks like something I'd be into. So I absolutely need to track this down.
Yeah, she really buried the lead on that.
I know.
It's from the time Mick Jagger did Yellowface, you know.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, it's funny because I don't think either Pauly didn't know or he was trying to divert attention from that fact. Because he keeps bringing up MC Hammer. And like, they show the outfit and then like custom music video or whatever. And then he comes back and he's wearing the outfit and he's singing That's Why We Pray by MC Hammer.
Pray. We gonna pray just to make it today. Kids are cruising and they're roosing anyway. That's not the song.
What is the outfit MC Hammer is wearing in the Pray video? Is it like a choir robe kind of a?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And earlier in that, I think they did play That's Why We Pray video because I think that's in there. But then that becomes kind of a recurring theme because the next one I watched was the Not Scary Farm one where he meets Elvira. And the joke with this, of course, is supposed to be that Elvira's a big titty goth girl and she's not interested in Pauly Shore. It's like the usual comedy about Elvira and the usual comedy about Pauly Shore. Like what you would expect to happen with that. But what I found funny about this is that he keeps bringing up MC Hammer for some reason. Yeah. I think because they're playing videos, but he just like keeps mentioning MC Hammer.
Okay, well, you guys are gonna real quick watch MC Hammer. They gotta watch MC Hammer on Rockline tonight.
They've got to?
Yeah, they have to because it's MTV and MTV's it's the law, or they'll get ticketed and stuff.
He brings up Get Off too, which is like there are so many times when Pauly Shore, like I think we talked about the time that he did it in his comedy special. Oh, and then Elvira also mentions, she says something like, you haven't seen this much cleavage since Prince showed his ass at the VMAs or whatever. Yeah, I thought that was very funny. Like, so I've been noticing this thing lately. Last night we watched Showgirls for the first time.
Oh my God, I watched that months ago. It's nuts.
Swear to God, I spent the entire movie not knowing who I was supposed to be rooting for or like what I was supposed to want to happen because the value system is just so wildly different. You know, like think about just like how we think about sex workers now, how we think about same-sex partnerships now. Like, I was like, what am I supposed to think? Is she supposed to be gay? Like, I could not put my brain into a 1994 person's body.
It's also just like perplexing, even from like the movie poster, because like
right,
it's so weird. Like the perspective on that is so weird because it's like the background's black, she's in black, and then there's just a slit, so it just looks like she has like one leg.
Yeah, everything. It's like I honestly
the
don't know.
The soundtrack on that rips. It's all like goth rock and Prince though.
Yeah. Like, and the performance is just like it's kind of like Stephen Baldwin's performance in Biodome, where it's like I know this isn't good, but damned if she isn't going for broke. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, so, and I felt a similar sensation about Elvira, because I was like, were guys like thinking they had a chance with Elvira? Because I just feel like Elvira's whole thing is so queer coded now that it's like, I don't even really think of her as like a male sex symbol, I
think people do.
I guess so.
I think that's kind of the whole thing, but I do like the queerification.
Yeah, because she's just so camp, that it's almost like I just feel like it reads totally differently now. And I think that's why those jokes just kind of like didn't really land, because it's like, who thinks of Elvira as like a sex pot anymore,
But it's also like, did they? I don't know if they landed or not. They might have landed, but for me, what was funny was that he just kept bringing up MC Hammer.
Yeah,
that was the real joke that killed him. Like, you just talking to Elvira, he's like, "All right, watch this MC Hammer video."
But yeah, I mean, it is inevitable that Elvira and the Weasel would have crossed paths at some point. So,
The other two are just bore him trying on costumes. This is an actual costume shop. I really like the chemistry that he has with one of the salespeople, I think. Yeah. Where like they're dressed up as Slash and Axl Rose.
Knock, knock, knock on heaven's door. Knock,
hey,
knock on
this
heaven's
is Axl,
door.
and on Slash, dude. Actually, this is probably what Slash's insides look like, but don't you think, Mel, after all the parties he's attended? Cool, okay, I'm gonna bail this and put it on Axl, because that's what Axl's insides look like, too.
Isn't that gorgeous?
So sing. This one more day to Halloween.
One more day to Halloween.
My favorite Halloween.
A regular witch is out there.
What are you gonna be for Halloween?
A witch, of course.
Of course, of course.
Of course, of course.
You never know what you need more.
That's right.
Yeah, everyone's in love with everyone.
Oh, definitely.
It's a world peace. This is like an alfalfa Axl package. Little smokage is not good for you. So kids, if you're watching, this is just a prop, because if you see all the videos, they all look like this, especially Slash, but not for me. It's bad. No, 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 no. Okay. We're going to check out a video right now. Is that cool? Where are we?
We're knocking on heaven's door.
Oh, it's real nice that you get a bigger laugh than me.
We love to see Pauly fail. That's some of when he's the funniest, is when he's absolutely bombing. So
yeah. And at the end, he decides on a fireman costume, and he tries to take the fire extinguisher. And the guy's like, "No, we need that. That's it. That's the joke." But then the next one, this is actually the first one I ever saw that was Halloween themed. He's trick-or-treating super early in the day because he has to record Totally Pauly. So no one has candy ready, and so everyone just gives him a box of macaroni and cheese.
Hi.
Hi, trick-or-treat.
Hi. I don't have any candy. It's too early.
I know. It's a little at between 3 and 4:30. And this is the only time I can really trick-or-treat, because that's when my show's on. Trick-or-treat!
Okay, wait a minute, hold on. Let me see what I have, okay?
Okay, trick-or-treat. Hello, sir, trick-or-treat. You like my costume?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a fireman / weasel.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool, buddy. Trick-or-treat.
Oh, only thing I have is some macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
That's like the only like one that's funny for its own merits, and it is actually funny. Like I did actually get a laugh out of the fact that everyone was just giving him macaroni. It's just funny that everyone just happens to have macaroni and cheese.
And it's also just a funny premise, because it's like Totally Pauly was not filmed live, so why did he have to do it at 3:30 p.m.? Nobody knows.
Oh, speaking of cheese, another thing that was kind of funny in the Elvira one is when he was like, she's steaming like broccoli, like cheese whiz. Does cheese with steam?
Oh, and then one other thing, because I was kind of mixing these up, but I liked also, it was in that first one, the one that was like MTV's, Shocktober weekend or whatever. He was just doing these segments with the lady at the costume shop. And this is just more evidence for our thing about his like childlike nature. But there was this part where she was like driving him around through the back of the costume shop. And the only way I can describe it is it was like she was entertaining a toddler and he was like kind of tired out. And she kind of like got him to calm down a little bit and was talking to him. It had that kind of an energy to it. And it's just funny.
Is that when he was kind of like sitting on top of the car and like pointing costumes out?
Yes, yeah.
What's that? That's kind of like a Hansel and Gretel, right?
Right.
See, we're here checking out different costumes because tomorrow I'm going to be with Miss Universe. Is that buff or what, dude? She's from Norway. And you know what, buds? I'm gonna go do for ya. We ran out of gas. Oh, cool. It's putting away. We're on reserve. I'm gonna go do for ya.
Yeah, so those are the Halloween Totally Pauly episodes. I feel like we covered everything that
yeah.
felt
there
notable.
might be more, but I didn't have time to look for them. And honestly, those are the ones I'd seen. But I mean, if you have more, you have a favorite moment from your favorite Halloween Totally Pauly episode, by all means.
Yeah, let us know. I know the email works because Grace used it. You can also find us on Instagram at Dystopian Graham. We're on YouTube, obviously, at Dystopian Dance Party. We're on the web at dystopiandanceparty.com. And you can email us, be the second person to send an email to heybuddy@dystopiandanceparty.com. And as this episode proves, if you send us a video, as long as, I'm going to screen it in advance, but as long as it's not, something objectionable in some way, I'll probably put it in the fucking video. So there you go. How's that for an incentive? So next time, Pauly, the 1997 sitcom that didn't even last a full season, and is like the real nadir, like Biodome was sort of the nadir of Pauly Shore's career, but this is like this is the point of no return, this sitcom that he did on Fox in 1997. I believe that at least those 5 episodes that aired are on YouTube. So that's going to be what we do for our next episode. We're going to treat it like a movie and watch those 5 episods.
Nice. I'm excited about this.
If the other 2 that didn't air, if I can find those, we'll watch those 2, but we'll at least watch those 5. And yeah, we'll find out just how bad it is. I have never, all I know about it is it's a Fox sitcom and it was like a monumental failure. That's just about it. So that's what we're doing next.
Oh, and I also will be watching this episode where Mick Jagger does Yellow Face.
Oh yes,
that is also theater thing.
So we'll report back. Report back on that for the next mini-sode because I'm also very interested in that. So thanks for bearing with us on our kind of extended time away, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Thank you, little nightingale. I have driven you from my palace and banished you. Still you have driven the evil visions away from my bed and removed death from my heart. How can I ever reward you?
I received tears from your eyes the first time I sang for you. I'll never forget that. But it was the little kitchen maid who summoned me to your bed. It is she who should be rewarded. But sleep now, my emperor, so you become well and strong, and I shall sing for you.